Hey there, it's time for some daily weekly word games. It is Saturday, October 15th. We are halfway through October, which is a little bit mind-blowing. Even more mind-blowing is that I have two of my kids' birthdays next week. One is turning 16, my oldest, and my youngest, my little baby, is turning 9. So I am solidly into having, like kids and not like little kids. Which actually I have to admit I am very much enjoying. They say bigger kids, bigger problems. It's not so much bigger problems as different ones, and it tends to be more sort of emotional and um, social questions as opposed to the sort of physicality of a younger kid. I'm very blessed. My two teenagers they're good to me. They're very sweet. And yeah. Anyway, enough of that. Time does fly. Everybody getting ready for Halloween? I was thinking about why Halloween has become such a big deal. I think it's a fairly recent thing. I mean, it used to be like people were excited about Halloween. You'd make a costume, you'd have a party, you'd go trick or treating. But now it's like this whole like Halloween season, like at least here in the U.S. and I think in parts of Europe and the UK especially, people get really into decorating and just the whole sort of uh, the joy of the spooky and the black cats and the spiders and the ghosts and the witches and making funny displays in their front yards and things like that. And I was thinking about why, and I was thinking it's probably because it's just fun. It's just fun. There's no religious attachment. I realize, yes, Halloween does have religious underpinnings, as do most of our cultural practices. But it's very much separated from its origins as a either pagan or Christian, things that feed into it. I mean, we're so far separated from that now that I understand why there are people who do still see the religious aspect of it and not want to celebrate it, but I also completely understand it being a very just a fun sort of secular, enjoy what you want to enjoy of it, decorate for the fun of decorating. The orange and the black and the pumpkins and I just think it's fun. I mean, my whole neighborhood, like people really decorate for Halloween. I was walking to pick up my kids from school the other day and there was some very, very nice, very funny Halloween decorations. So it's just enjoyable. And the other thing I really like about Halloween is there's like this idea that the entire community just agrees that on this one day of the year, they're going to sit outside with a bowl of candy or sit in their, front rooms with a bowl of candy and wait for people to knock on their door and then give away candy. Like, even people who don't have kids who are going to bring home candy in exchange, it's like this agreement, I don't know. It's really interesting because how often do you get an entire neighborhood to just be like, oh, sure, we'll all do this thing at the same time. No problem. It's kind of weird. Anyway, that's enough for me. I was just thinking about that and it's coming up. So, are you doing anything fun for Halloween? You dressing up? You got kids dressing up, going trick-or-treating. Some of you are kids, I know. Are you going trick-or-treating? I think being a parent on Halloween, once your kids are old enough, especially to go off by themselves trick-or-treating, like it's fun to just see your kids having fun and, going off and doing that. Anyway, we're going to play some games. That's what we're here for. We are going to start off with Quordle. Then we're going to go on to Notwordle, because that's become one of my favorites. We're going to play Symble, Xordle, Fibble, and Wordle Peaks today. So let's get started. We're going to start with Quordle, and I have a set of suggestions from Explorer tier Patreon supporter Shalaz, who correctly remembered that I had enjoyed playing Oregon Trail on my phone. I even streamed it a couple of times a little while back. I might do that again. I haven't played it in a while, but I did really enjoy it. I tend to bounce from game to game. I'll become obsessed with a game and play it for hours and hours for days on end, and then I'll just stop playing it and I'll pick another game and play that one for hours and hours and days on end, and then I'll stop and play something else. So that one went by the wayside, but I might come back to it. In the meantime, we will do Shalaz's suggestion of Wagon, Trail, and Guide as an Oregon Trail themed Quordle start. I mean, I'm an OG Oregon Trail player. I am the Oregon Trail generation. Those of us born between about 1978 and 1983 who played Oregon Trail in school on our old Apple IIes, the original Oregon Trail. The origin of the memes. Anyway, what do we have? We have a lot of letters on the bottom left. This is actually a really good start. Look at this. Look at all these letters I have. I have so many letters I don't know what to do with them all. All right. We have G, A, O, and T. Wait, I have all 5 letters. This is gloat. Wow. That's probably E-A-L-T, like delt? Oh no, there's no D. Maybe it isn't. Could be L-E-A... Least? No. Ah, dang. I was all ready to just fill them right in. So, exalt, I think. Yeah. Here we go. A-U-S-E, pause or cause. And then over here, I have O-U-D and N. That's got to be O-U-N-D. Found or mound or pound? Oh, no. Or hound? Wait. Found, bound, mound, or pound. And then over there I have pause or cause. So if I get the P tested, I can test for both of those. And then I just need MB or 2 of MB and F. That doesn't seem easy. Bumpy? Bumpy works. All right, so it's pause and pound. Nice, the P worked out for me. All right, thanks for the suggestion, Shalaz. That was a lot of fun. As always, you can leave suggestions for a 3-word Quordle start in the comments. I do keep track. You might not necessarily see it next week, but you'll see it eventually. I try to sort of go in order, except for Explorer tier patrons get priority. I did not mention my Patreon in my intro because I got distracted by Halloween. These things happen. So if you are interested in joining my Patreon, there is a link in the description. You can join for as little as $1 a month, and you get access to bonus content and, cat photos, things like that. And then if you spring for the Explorer tier, which is only $5 a month, you also get priority consideration for word suggestions. And there will probably be more perks when I have more people. So stay tuned. Anyway, moving on. We are going to take the word pound over to Notwordle. That seems like a pretty good place to start with Notwordle. And I will explain Notwordle for those of you who are new to it. So the way this works is, as usual, you're trying to guess a 5-letter word from the Wordle answer list. But instead of telling you yellows and greens like you're used to seeing, it gives you different set of clues to use. So it starts off by giving you the Scrabble score for that word, assuming there's no like double word scores or anything. And the point value for the letters are in the keyboard. You don't have to like guess. And then it tells you whether that score is too high or too low compared to the answer word. It tells you whether you need to go toward A or toward Z in the dictionary, alphabetically. So it could still start with P, but be PA instead of PO, and that would still fulfill the go toward A clue. It tells you whether it's too common or too obscure. I have not, in all of my times playing this, 5 or 6, figured out exactly how to use that clue, but it's kind of interesting. I mean, if it says the word pound is too obscure, then we need a pretty common word. And then it tells you, if you were playing a word ladder game where you change one letter at a time and each new word has to be valid until you get to the answer word, how many minimum amount of steps would it take to get there? So it kind of lets you know, like, you're just completely off, or, oh, you'd only have to change one letter and you'd have the answer. But this clue would tell you that as well. This is a Wordle clue, only it only tells you if there are any greens, it tells you how many greens. If there are no greens, it tells you how many yellows. And if there are no yellows either, it tells you there's 5 grays. So all I know is none of these letters are in place. One of the letters is in the word but in the wrong place, and I need a lower point value word, which means it's mostly 1-point letters. So that's kind of interesting. And I need to go earlier in the alphabet. So I want to try, let's see. We could try something like a word with G. G is only 2 points. And we'll try keeping the O, but we'll put it in the middle. Gloss? Let's try gloss. Still too high. So it's all 1-point letters, and those are all gray. So the O was the wrong letter to keep. We need to go still earlier in the alphabet. And that word is too obscure. So we need a more common word. But I don't know exactly how to decide whether a word is common or not. It's a little bit strange. Let's see. So we need all 1-point letters. What letter from pound then? So we know it's not the P or the D or the O. So it's the U or the N. Those are both 1-point letters. But it doesn't start with either one because we need to go earlier than GL in the alphabet. Well, technically earlier than GLO, but since we know it can't start with G, GF, E, so it has to start with E or A, because B, C, D, F, and G all have too many points. That's really interesting. Maybe I'll jump all the way to A and see what happens. What about... Do I want to keep... I think I probably want to keep the N. That seems like a good guess. Okay, towards Z. 2 yellows now. I guess I can try starting with E then. It could also just be like AS something. Oh, no, it can't have an S. Could be AU. U could be... Oh, no, it can't start with A because it would have a green. So it has to start with E. Right. Have to remember all the clues. Huh. I want to do Eater. That only has 1 yellow from a null. E10, though. E10 is perfect. Yes! I got it in 4! I've gotten it in 3 twice, but normally it takes me a few more tries than that. Oh, I said I've only done it 5 or 6 times. I've done it 16. That was great. That was really, really good. I'm really pleased with that. Wow. Sometimes I want to play the word ladder to see how I would get from my first guess to the answer or whatever in however many. So it says I should be able to get from pound to eaten in 7 steps. I wonder what those 7 steps are. I've never actually tried to do it, but usually you do it with 4-letter words. I think it'd be really hard with 5-letter words. Anyway, let's move on to Symble. Starting with eaten is terrible, but we have rules. I know I make up the rules. I can do whatever I want, but, you know. Actually, that's pretty good. We have either the E is in place and a yellow, one of the other letters at the end, or the N is in place and a different letter at the beginning. So let's try starting with T and ending with N. How does that sound? Does that sound possible? I don't know. How about, no, it can't be Titan. Actually, that might be kind of hard. Or maybe not T. Maybe A. Start with A and end with N. I changed my mind. A line fits the bill. Okay, I think I got it right. So we do have A something I something N. What would it be? Axion? No, it has to end in N. Axion is a word though, right? I'm on a roll today. Wow, that was so good. Maybe eaten's not such a bad start. Or at least it wasn't a bad start for this particular word. Wow. All right. Well, that went pretty well. We'll take... Oh, we don't need to take Axion with us to Xordle because Xordle gives us a starting word. All right, Keldor, what you got in store for me today? Cloud. Okay, so for Xordle, we are guessing 2 words on the same board. We're given the usual Wordle clues, but we don't know which letters belong to which word. We only know that the words don't share any letters, but you could have a repeated letter within the same word. So you don't need necessarily 10 unique letters. In fact, there was a puzzle a few days ago that I failed. It had only 5 unique letters for both words. It was crazy. That was really hard. All right. Let's get some more letters, since we only have 1. You definitely can't make 2 words with only 1 letter. How about, stare? Oh, that was good. All right. Now we have 6 letters. 2 of them in place, which is unexpected. I wonder where the E goes if it's not at the end. I wonder if it ends in ER. Could be a word that ends in ER. Like, gosh, there are so few. How about tower? We're going to try to place the O, E, and R while we're at it. Doesn't end in ER. Does start with T. So there's a word that starts with S and a word that starts with T. One of them ends in R, but not ER. Okay. So E is second or third. TH A. How about think? There is an H, but it isn't second. What? That could be smash. Yeah. I was like, if there's an H that isn't second and there's an S and a T that are already sort of placed, the only other option would be a C, and we know there's no C. Because H coming up anywhere in a word besides at the beginning, not accompanied by a C, T, or S, is fairly uncommon. Certainly could happen, but it's unusual. All right, so we've got smash. So the other word, we actually have all 5 letters for. It's T, R, E, O, and N, and we just need to put them in order. We know it starts with T and ends with R. Oh, it's tenor. Cloud smash tenor. I guess that's not themed, because if it is, I don't know what the theme is. But I do always like the AI image that accompanies the answer. Cloud smash tenor. All right, that went pretty well. Confused me for a minute, but I got there. Okay, let's play Fibble. And in Fibble, we're playing Wordle, except one of the tiles in every line is lying about its color. It's not lying about what letter it is, it's lying about its color. And there's exactly 1 lie per word. So what I like to do is guess a word that's very similar to the given word to try to catch it in a lie. Even better if I can catch it in 2 lies. So I'm going to try cough. Perfect. Okay. So the H cannot be simultaneously in the word and not in the word, and the G cannot be simultaneously in the word and not in the word. So since there's exactly 1 lie per word, either the G or the H is lying in bow, and either the G or the H is lying in cough. I don't know which one, but since I've identified one of the lies in each word, I know the rest of the information is true, which means there's no C, B, O, or U in the answer word. And if this is, the H could be lying about its color and be green, meaning there is an H and it ends in H, and then the H would be the lie both times, which would mean there is also a G in the word and it is not in the 4th position. Or this G could be lying, which would mean this H is true. And then, I mean, there's sort of various options for the configuration of the G and H. Neither could be in it. H and G could both be lying on the diagonal here and both be gray, and I could just have no letters at all. Or they could both be true and the 2 grays are lying. Or one of them could be lying and actually be green, so there's some options. But at least we have a little bit of information. We have eliminated some letters. So I think I'm going to try the H again in a different place, but otherwise I'm going to get some new letters and see what happens. So I'm thinking something like shawl. Okay, so the H is still gray, but we don't really know anything else because I can't compare it to the above. So I need to do kind of the same thing again between shawl and something else. How about growl? That's kind of interesting. Okay, so the L is consistent. That doesn't tell us anything inherently, but it's interesting. And I still don't have any obvious lie because there's no contradictions. So again, it's looking like the two grays are true because the H came up gray here and the G came up gray here. But now what I can do is I can do scowl. I know there's no C, but this will test the S, O, and W, L. Okay, now we've got what we want. So one of these O's is lying, which means there is an L in the word. There is not a W in the word. We already know there's no C, so we know that's not the lie. And then here we know one of these S's is lying. But there's nothing else consistent between those two words. It's not an X-wing. It's not like up here because it's two different words that have the contradictions. But we also know, actually, it is an X-wing because A and O can't both be green in the third spot. So that means there is an R in this. Oh, wait, no, that's not right. That means there's also no H in the word. So that means this H is lying. So there's also no G in the word. So this is true. So it's kind of a sort of a complex of lies here, but we know there's one lie among these 6 letters. And since we know there's no G, we can say this is the lie and there's no H either. So now we know, oh, we already knew there was no O, which means this O is a lie. Well, that's great. Okay, so we know it starts with S. We know there's no O. We know this one was true. So there is not, the R is lying. And then this S is lying because we know there is an S. So we can kind of move backward. Okay, so we do know it starts with S, there's an A third, and there's an L in the word. That's all we know for sure. But that makes me think it starts with SLA. I don't know what that would be. Slate? Okay, so we know this is the lie. So this is right. There's no T or E either. So it does start with SLA. What would it be? Sleen? Nice. I felt like a really solid solve. I feel like I didn't do anything silly. I didn't make any mistakes. I mean, maybe it wasn't the most efficient way. Like, I probably could have gotten it in fewer if I had thought through my guesses a little bit more. But I also like that every time I did come to a conclusion, I was very, very sure that it was proven and that I wasn't just speculating. So that was pretty neat. I think that went well. I enjoyed that solve. I think it went really well. And we'll take slain over to Wordle Peaks, even though it's a terrible starting word for Wordle Peaks. But here we go. Okay, not so bad. So, Wordle Peaks, it tells us whether the letter we need is higher or lower in the alphabet than the one that we guessed. So it only relates to the letter in that slot. You can ignore the rest of it. So we need a letter higher than L. And the A was right, surprisingly. How about start? Okay. How about SPA? Actually, what? I don't think that's right. Maybe it wouldn't be SOA. SNA? What does it end with? Y? Snaky? Does end in Y. What in the world? Spaley, spamy, spany, spapy. What is this word? Soapy. I didn't expect there to be a vowel there. All right, that was a little bit tough. I like that. Okay, so that'll be it for today. Thank you so much for joining me as always. I hope you are having a lovely month. And as we head into winter up here in the Northern Hemisphere, stay warm, stay comfortable, and I will see you next week for more daily, weekly word games. Bye for now.